Good afternoon.
That's right. That's right.
We just, before lunch, finished up with mentor, how you get a mentor, mentor versus mastermind groups. I said that I didn't particularly care for mastermind groups, although I've used them in the past. By mastermind groups, I mean when I think that Abraham Lincoln, Jesus Christ, Napoleon were on my mastermind, that kind of thing, that I understand and that I've used before. But when I'm talking about mastermind groups that haven't worked for me are when I joined groups when I was much younger and people utilized me more than I was benefiting from the group, and ultimately, and the couple times that I tried it, I ultimately left rather quickly from both groups. They do work. A lot of people preach mastermind groups, but and if you're already a super high performance person or high performance person, not even a super high performance person, and you want to participate in a mastermind group, you have to have other high performance people. And normally, there's not enough balance in the group, and they normally turn into social fests where everybody is loving one another, and it turns into a happy, slappy environment, which you go skiing together, play tennis together, play bridge together, etc. And that's not what mastermind groups are supposed to be about. So the mentor-mentee relationship that this wall is pretty much devoted to, going back to Aristotle, Plato, Socrates, which were some of the first mentor-mentee relationships that I've known, written about, I should say, to current day. Bill Gates, Warren Buffett. When Bill was a young man and he was supposed to be becoming successful, he wanted to find, I don't know if he earmarked Mr. Buffett because he was the richest guy in the world at the time, but he earmarked him as being a super successful person. He approached him, and of course they're best friends now. And Mr. Buffett has given up $30–40 billion to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation several years ago to manage with the Gates' own trust fund. It works. Modeling works. There's no question about it. The people that are in the Hall of Fame behind the camera, I mentored, and they're QLA devotees, and I got them started, not in life, but I got them started on the QLA path, and there's been a tremendous amount of success. Now 20 years ago, when I beat my chest about mentee mentors, and I talked about my own 3 mentors in those days when I was just a meager $400 million man, although it was still a formidable example that I gave, it's not as powerful as the current 20 years later, $50 billion plus that I've helped guys like you on this YouTube create in equity and value. There's no comparison. It just works. Singers, actors, Olympic athletes, we normally think of mentors and coaches with athletics. I mean, some of the super, tennis players are change coaches quite often. And some keep their coaches throughout their career. Jack Nicklaus, I believe, had the same golf coach his entire career. From when his dad coached him, and then he had a coach, and then until he passed away. So some people keep their coaches, and they never outgrow them. Some people outgrow them. I had 3 mentors. I had one for getting my head screwed on straight, which was Jim Newman, who was the author of Release Your Brakes, and he invented, initiated, came up with, whatever phrase you want to use, the terminology comfort zone. And of course now comfort zone is understood and utilized in just about all personal development and success coaching. My general business mentor was Costa Gratsos, who was the right-hand man for 60-plus years of Aristotle Onassis. And when I met him, he was the CEO of the Onassis shipping group, and he was the head of the Onassis Trust when Onassis passed away, and he ran Christine Onassis assets that were mostly in that trust. And my third mentor was Jerry Orman, who was the founder of a company called Orman Industries. It was one of the fastest growing companies in America in the 60s, 70s, and early 80s in the energy business, and he was my energy oil mentor. One lived in New York, Costa Gratsos. One lived in Dallas, Texas. Jerry Orman and Jim Newman lived in Los Angeles, or outside Los Angeles. Would I be here without them? Possibly. But the main point is that I utilize them, and I utilize their nurturing. And I unlike some of the people on the YouTube and some of the people in this room, I didn't need a lot of nurturing. I was the kind of guy that told me what to do, and then I just fucking did it. You know, and not everybody's like that, and so there's different levels of learning. As long as we're learning and we're making progress, that's all that's important. But as I've told a couple of the young guys in the room that are 22 and 18 years old, and another one that's about 31, who I've known since he was in his middle 20s. Unlike what people tell them, you've got plenty of time, you're young. Well, that's horseshit. You don't have fucking plenty of time. Pretty soon you'll be an old fucking hag at 40, 45, 50. You know, the muscles you had will be sagging. If you had tits, they'll be down to your belly. If you had an ass, it'll be down to the back of your knees. So my advice, strong advice, is that hurry up, no matter how young you are. For those of you that aren't that young, like 3 people in this room, it's not that life has passed you by, because it's never too late. I didn't really get rolling until I was in my 30s, although I had achieved a lot of success by the time I was in my early 30s by certain standards. I really didn't get rolling until I was in my middle and late 30s, and then the rest is history. Now, what happens the next 20 years, assuming I'm coaching another 20 years, which I know some of you will think that shit, he'll be almost 90 by then. Don't be surprised if I'm still not coaching when I'm almost 90, because if I feel anywhere near this good then as I do now, I might be coaching until I'm 100. But now, with a mentor and understanding, you want somebody that has been there, done that. You want somebody like Jack and Mark and Matt and Robert, both Roberts, have asked me questions. I don't have to think about it. It's not like, let me do the sums here. Let me do a spreadsheet. I know the answer almost instantaneously. And that's what you want from your dream team. And that's for sure you want with your mentor, and from your mentor, who sometimes will be your anchor chairman, sometimes he won't. Sometimes he'll just, you know, in your cases, I'm going to mentor you the next year. Some of you I'll do stuff with, some of you I won't. Some of you will wait a year to ask me to do something with you. Some of you will wait 3 years to ask me to do something with you. But the important point is I'm here for the next year, and it's free. So as Jay Abraham, if he's watching this, Jay, if it's free, it's for me, as Jay taught me many years ago. So for the next year, I mean, you're a fool not to utilize the talents that I have. But we've had other fools come through this program, so doesn't mean you will, okay? But most of the kids, and again, I call you all kids because to me you are kids. But I don't have to think about it. I don't, you know, I know the answers. And because I've been in a broad spectrum from A to Z, A to Z, in a lot of industries, and I have a general knowledge of the internet and internet marketing, although that's not my forte. Transactions and buying companies is really my forte. Growing through acquisition is really my forte. You know, I know a lot, and so in recent years we've had a lot of internet kids. We got a lot, and for some reason they all seem to sit in the back row, except for this one who sits here all the time. But we have a lot of them sit in the back row. I don't know if they do that because
that's where our name tags were.
Yeah.
No, but that's what, no, is that, did we put you there?
Yeah, I did it too.
Okay, well, no, I think it's because, you know, Jesse James got shot in the back playing poker, so we put you all your backs up against the wall so you don't get shot in the back. Some disgruntled internet client coming to shoot Giancarlo or you in the back. I have that knowledge, but when you take the mentor information that you've gotten, you then, perception is reality, and the next building block of the QLA methodology is perception. And perception meaning you're perceived to be more successful than you are now. And I tease the kids and I say, well, that's not too difficult because you're not too successful, so it's pretty easy to be perceived as more successful as you are now. And part of this perception is how you dress, how you talk, how you act, how you interface with others. It's all important. And I know that the younger generation has some problems with some of the things I'm going to say, but all I can tell you is it works. And we have a lot of people that have started out young. Now, perception, when you look at that picture, or that's overhead, it shows 3 men in the bottom picture that are young and 3 men that are old. They happen to be the same 3 men. 3 men on the bottom row are the 2 guys, my best buddies, that we volunteered to go in the Army together in 1966. On the buddy plan, they used to call it in the Army. There's no such a fucking thing as the buddy plan, and I should sue the United States Army because we all went to 3 different places. But ostensibly, we were supposed to go to the same post, go to boot camp, not the boot camp, the bullshit that you went to, a marketing boot camp. I mean a real boot camp where they fucking beat you. Okay, we didn't go. Okay, I went overseas. Walt, the guy next to the soldier on the right, went to Texas. The guy in the middle next to me went to Chicago, Illinois, and I went overseas. Okay, the 3 pictures on the top are the same 3 guys. The bottom picture was taken in 1966, before we were inducted into the United States Army. We volunteered for the draft. Walt is now on the left-hand side. He's a retired, very successful contractor, environmental contractor. The guy in the middle, Howard, is a successful casino gaming executive that not served time like in jail, but did in New Jersey, Atlantic City, and in Vegas. And then myself on the right. Okay. I was going to put this, and there's a picture, you can see the American flag in the background. I was going to give this to recruitment of the United States Army and let them use it as a recruitment advertisement. Except that somebody asked me, does the buddy plan still exist? And supposedly it still exists. I'd have to say it's a lie. It's a fact. Okay.
Which one of the 3 below are you? In 66?
This one.
Okay.
That's me.
Okay.
That's me. This is Howard. That's Howard. That's Walt. That's Walt. Walt is German. He's from Old East Germany. His father was a tank commander for Rommel or something. And Howard, but we're all basically poor. We're all basically poor. And but we've known each other since we're 10, 11, 12 years old. Okay, so that's 2013 at our 50-year high school reunion. And but perception is reality. Now, if you saw only the bottom picture, you'd have one thought. I'm not sure what you'd think because it just looks like an old picture next to a soldier that was carrying a bomb. And those bombs is what they used to drop on people in Vietnam and Cambodia, etc. The top picture just looks like 3 old guys, maybe at a reunion, at a wedding, whatever. But perception is reality. Now, that's a picture that not many people see. That's the Queen getting trigger time.
Is that real?
That's a real picture, yeah, from 20, 30 years ago. She was young then, the Queen, as you see her. Okay, now not many people see that picture, have seen that picture. It wouldn't be considered politically correct today, would it? The Queen of England, now she's not gunning anybody out that I know of, okay? And the Queen has been an influence since I met her 2 or 3 times, but perception is reality, and believe me, contrary to what everybody says, you only have one time, and listen up, YouTubers, you only have one time to make a first goddamn impression. One time. That's why I disagreed with the ex-convict bum that told you that shit, okay? Thief, crook. He'd be up there, okay? Now, I look like this. I've not always looked like this. I wasn't born like this, like my kids say. But I look like this. And I've looked like this a long, long time. So when I go to the barrio, I don't fit in. Okay? When I'm around other public personal development coaches, success coaches, they don't look like me. But you only have one time to make his first impression. When I used to go to the Bank of England, the Church of England, or the Vatican to get money, I wasn't robbing him. I was giving him a presentation. I looked like this. I looked successful. I was successful, but I wasn't as successful as they perceived me to be when I first went. I wasn't as successful as they thought I was. And the thing about the QLA, and when you have a dream team, and when you have an anchor chairman that's a high-profile person, super successful, they think you're more successful than you are. That's the game. And it's not a ruse. And it's not like Edie over here sucking them into the vortex to throw them down a pit, a fire pit or something. It's it's not a lie, but you want to put your best foot forward. It's like when you go out on a date. Most people, I can't speak about now, but you used to want to look your best when you went out on a date. When you go to a wedding or you go even to a funeral, you want to look your best. That's all this is. That's all my uniform is. Of course, now it's part of my life. Now, in Asia, it's so bloody hot, I don't get many opportunities to dress like this. But if it's a big meeting, I do dress like this. The only thing that sometimes if I want to dress down, you know how you talk about dress down? Sometimes I don't wear my watch. If I want to dress down. Now, in a tailor-made suit, when you see buttons like this, and you see the buttons undone, it's not because the guy lost his button. It's because he wants to say, fuck you, you cunt. These are bespoke clothes. And when you have two buttons unbuttoned, that means double fuck you. So when you see people with buttons that are unbuttoned, it's not because they lost the buttons. It's because, like some of you would. Now we've had people show up here where it's a new suit, and so there's a stitch here. You know how you get a new suit and the tails are stitched together? We've had people show up here, people you know, that has Ralph Lauren. You know how the label's on here on the outside? They don't take the fucking label off because they think the label belongs there. Now give me a fucking break. Now can you imagine you walking into a bank, financial institution, and you got Ralph Lauren label on here, and as you walk out, you got your pants, your things stitched. We've had people show up. You know how when you buy a tailor-made suit, sometimes they'll still have stitches in the lapels. They think that that's the style of the suit. They don't take the stitches out. Perception is reality. So, and you only have one time to make a first impression. One time. And then everything works from there. The next thing after they look at you, what you look like, is what comes out of your big mouth. In some cases, we get some bigger mouths in here than others. That's okay, I got a big mouth. Nothing wrong with that, Mark. Your mouth, you're quiet compared to me, what I was when I was a kid. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's a bunch of people on this, but we're at one end of the continuum. Most of the people are at another end of the continuum. But I like this picture, of the Queen. Okay? One of the great ruses of all time, perception is reality, is in God we trust. Where do we see that? Currency. United States currency. What does God have to do with currency? Perception is reality. When we first made dollar bills and whatever the currency was in the United States, we wanted people to feel comfortable with it. Okay? Another perception, kids don't lack capacity, they only lack teachers. That's why I'm a believer in kids and giving them big responsibility. But kids step on their dick, and you got to realize that. If you don't make the time to work on creating the life you want, you're eventually going to be forced to spend a lot of time dealing with a life you don't want. Perception is reality. Now, when you see that, what do you think of?
Scumbag.
Scumbag. He could be a, bebop, fuck the hole in the ass, rock star making $60 million a year, right? But you think scumbag. We probably got some people watching this that look like that. When you look at this picture, what do you think? That's Oko or whatever her name was, and John Lennon at the Hilton in Amsterdam, the suite, the honeymoon suite, which I used to stay in Amsterdam. What do you think of?
Makes me think of Woodstock.
The bitch that broke the Beatles.
Yeah, okay. And when you see that picture, as opposed to that picture, what do you think of? Professional, high profile, and he's going to take the money from you. That's what I see when I look at that picture. But I'm not the only one that looks like this. And there's a theme here. They all look alike. It's classy. Why do they all look alike? When you look at a prime minister or you look like a president of a country, they're all wearing, roughly speaking, dark suit, white shirt, conservative tie, normally not a vest, or normally Berlusconi wears double-breasted, suits and stuff. But other than him, there's a reason why. You want to look presidential. You want them to think you're presidential, and you want to talk presidential. And then when you see this, what do you think? We know what we think, don't we?
He looks broke.
Okay? He's up there. But then I changed his image a little. Not from that. He's no more a fucking gold, black belt, whatever, than I am. When you look at these big houses I've showed you, what do you think? You think success. Success. Then he changed his image and he started getting pictures in front of my house. There's a lot of guys on the internet that got this picture here with the Bentley, the Aston Martin in front of the castle. But they don't say, well, this was my mentor's castle, cars. They don't say that we went there for a seminar. Okay, they lead people to believe. There's a guy up there that used to be on this Ferrari with his Speedo underwear, sitting like this on his Ferrari, on the hood of his Ferrari with his crotch like this. But he was hoping people would focus on the Ferrari part. Perception is reality, and the biggest thing that I have trouble teaching, especially the kids, is that perception is reality, and you only have one time to make first impression. Only one. Perception when you see cars like this is quite different. Okay. Most people try, but the QLA succeed. And you're walking out of here in a few days with the idea of a lot of great guys and gals that have come before you that have been very successful wearing the banner of QLA. I can't emphasize how much perception works. And I can't emphasize, I can't say it too strongly, how much the Dream Team and the Anchor Mentor work. They just do. Because instantaneously they're giving you instant credibility because those 3, 4, 5, or 6 people are giving you approval of your idea, you as a person, your honesty, your integrity. When Bob Dyke, the father of the North Sea, said that he's got a great deal of integrity, when Costa Grazzo said that I was one of the shooters to come along in a long time, that all means something, okay? As opposed to saying, hey, can you do me a solid, dude? Hey, bro. You have no idea what that sounds like to a mature male or female. You have no fucking idea how degrading that sounds when you talk that way. None. You can't even fathom in your wildest fucking imagination. You want to do me a solid, bro? What the fuck does that mean? Are you a fucking idiot? I can guarantee you one fucking thing. You go into Citicorp or HSBC or JP Morgan and you say, hey man, dressed like, you want to do me a solid, bro? They'll be having security usher you out. That I can guarantee. The world hasn't changed that much. Am I saying it right? Doing me a solid, bro?
Yeah.
No?
I was reaching out.
I asked some of the young kids, and of course this young kid I've known a long time. Okay. Success is a journey, not a destination. Now, we're going to talk about, we're going to let the YouTubers go. We'll see you tonight. Thank you for your time.